It's kind of interesting to me that we've never made a full-on dedicated video comparing and contrasting these two players in the past. Sure, we've mentioned it a few times in passing that there is a comparison to be made because they're the same size and they both score goals, but when it comes to the comparisons, we haven't actually explored this as deeply as we probably could have over the years. Today we're talking about a forward on the Montreal Canadiens, and we're talking about a forward on the Ottawa Senators as well. They are both 5'7", they're both goal scorers, and they're two players that are heading down pretty, dare I say, different paths throughout the 22-23 season so far. We're going over onto Montreal and talking about, once again, Cole Caufield, because of course we are. We're talking about this guy every other week. Back when he was a prospect, we made a video every single weekend going over his NCAA goals because he was just scoring at a crazy pace just every single game. And we're also talking about Ottawa Senators forward Alex DeBrincat. And I feel like this is going to be a pretty cathartic video to be making because when it comes to the Canadiens fans and the Senators fans, opinions could not be more different about these two players when it comes to their performances thus far. Let's go over to DeBrincat first. I feel like this is the more appropriate place to start out when it comes to talking about this. DeBrincat was initially a 2016 draftee by the Chicago Blackhawks. He was taken in the second round, despite the fact that he scored a boatload of points with the Erie Otters after the departure of Connor McDavid. He had 101 points in 60 games, 51 goals on the season, but the reason he slipped down so far was because he's only 5'7". 165 pounds, he's a right-handed guy, he's a goal scorer, but there were questions about his mobility and whether or not his offensive capabilities would translate to higher levels of play, especially since he's only 5'7". But as his career went on, DeBrincat showed off that, hey, there really is just an attractive player profile here that's good enough to start producing at the National Hockey League level as soon as 2 years after the draft. His Draft Plus 1 season saw him getting over a goal a game, which is absolutely phenomenal, and 127 points on the season in total. The season after, he made his debut with the Chicago Blackhawks as a, 19, 20-year-old pro, and he had 28 goals in 82 games played, 52 points on the year, definitely a crazy good rookie season for somebody who is so small, so new, and who was already doing a lot better than players taken in the first round of the 2016 draft. He overtook so many players in the span of 2 years that by the time the guy had his first 40-goal season in 2018-19, nobody was surprised anymore. He had 76 points in 82 games in that season, and he was over a point per game for Team USA at the World Championships. In this same year, you had yourselves Cole Caufield, also 5'7", also American, playing for the US NTDP alongside of Jack Hughes, and Caufield was torching up the junior scene in America. He was a goal scorer too, and he also happened to be 5'7". And so when the draft came and went, you saw a lot of people saying, hey, Alex DeBrincat is paving the way for players of this mold to actually have success and be capable NHL prospects. For a guy like DeBrincat, we knew he was talented, it's just he was so small and there were questions about his pace that held him back. For Caufield, there were no questions about his pace, but at the same time, there were concerns about his size still. This is why Alex DeBrincat was such a big deal in the 2019 draft discourse, because Cole Caufield's entire existence was kind of being validated in a way with the fact that DeBrincat was scoring 40 goals in the season that same year. Lo and behold, Caufield did not slip to the second round in the same way that DeBrincat did. He got taken 15th overall by the Canadiens, which is a lot lower than he probably should have been drafted because he was ranked to go as high as number 9 by some scouting outlets. But either way, the story continues. Caufield made his way over to the Wisconsin Badgers, DeBrincat was staying with the Chicago Blackhawks, and he became a point-per-game player pretty quickly after having one down season in 2019-20. The next season, he had 56 points in 52 games played, and in 2021-2022, he had 78 points and 40 goals yet again in a full 82-game season. This was pretty good, and a lot of people were saying that, hey, the Blackhawks could probably get themselves a haul here for DeBrincat because they're trying to trade away all of their young talent. Sure, it's going to suck to see DeBrincat playing without Patrick Kane anymore, but still, when you think about the contract extension, when you think about the direction the Blackhawks are on, trading DeBrincat seems like an inevitability, and we're going to have to wait and see where he goes. Eventually, he got sent over to the Ottawa Senators, where, so far, he has 14 points in 18 games played. That's not bad. Definitely not bad. If you do the math right here, let's do 14 divided by 18 multiplied out by 82. He is on pace for 64 points on the year, which would be a little bit of a setback from what he had accomplished last season and the season before that. But at the same time, DeBrincat's making $6.4 million a year till the end of this season, and there is going to be a contract extension process that is going to have to happen here. Meanwhile, you go over to the Ottawa Senators fans and see what they're saying about DeBrincat, and it's been more negative than positive. I have DeBrincat on my fantasy team myself, so I've been kind of monitoring him and seeing what he's been up to this point, and I'd be lying if I told you that I've been super happy with the way DeBrincat has been producing for my team. This is what Derek Lee said on Twitter as a prospect analysis for Future Watch TV, and he co-hosts the Future Sickos podcast. This kind of went viral on Twitter. I saw it yesterday. I wanted to read it here on the channel. DeBrincat has been a problem. Nobody wants to say it, so I'll break the ice and people will get mad at me. He's not the player they traded for. I'm sure there are plenty of valid reasons for this. It doesn't change the reality, though. He needs to be a goal scorer, and he's not. The replies argue different points. Oh, he's snake-bitten, he's this, he's still producing, which is okay. He's frustrating to watch because he's not getting those chances to go in, but he's still getting points, so at some point you gotta remember this guy's going to go on a heater soon. Claude Giroux, DeBrincat, these guys kind of had a bad game yesterday against the San Jose Sharks. It was a good showcase for Erik Karlsson, though. Good to see the Ottawa fans getting their dosage of EK65 once again. But DeBrincat, for all intents and purposes this year, has not been the best. And it contrasts quite heavily to what that Mr. Cole Caufield has been up to ever since he made his debut 2 seasons ago. Caufield was a part of the Canadian squad that went to the finals. He had 12 points in 20 games in that stint. Last season, he had a bad year. 43 points, 67 games played. You could say that half of that was chalked up due to Dominic Ducharme, but this season so far, Caufield has 19 points in 18 games played and 11 goals as well. More goals than assists. He's on pace for 50 on the season, and when it comes to what Caufield has been doing so far, just how good he has looked, how confident he has been, and how much swagger he carries every time he enters the offensive zone and gets those passes for the one-timer, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that at the time of recording this audio, the time of making this video, and the time of watching hockey in 2022, Caufield has been the better player. And that's kind of wild, because DeBrincat was always on the up and up. It's just nobody really saw this sort of a decline coming. And it's not a decline in points per se. I mean, he's still on pace for a good amount of points. It is fewer than what he had last year, but it's the overall impact. It's the satisfaction that the fan base has with this player. The Sens have been bad. We want to talk about Deadpool. We want to talk about the weekend. They've been kind of in the news too, but the bigger news comes with the players on the team that aren't stepping up and forcing play in the ways that Sens fans had been wanting to see from them. DeBrincat has been snake-bitten for sure. He's only shooting at, 7.9% on the year, which is pretty much half of his career average. So if you double the amount of goals that DeBrincat has, from 5 to 10, it looks a lot better, but at the same time, you can't just magically do that. So heading into the next few months, we're going to see here what exactly DeBrincat is really made of. This is supposed to be a contract year. It was a big deal seeing where he's going to go, but right now, I'd rather have Cole Caufield on my team. He's playing with more swagger, he's getting pucks on goal, he's actually scoring goals, and he is outproducing DeBrincat by quite a lot as well. Who would have figured? Back in 2019, if you say, hey, it's only going to take 3 years for Caufield to be better than DeBrincat, I kind of would have been surprised, honestly, but either way, talk in the comments your thoughts if you're a Canadiens fan about Cole Caufield and the DeBrincat comparison in the first place. What were your thoughts about comparing these two just because they're both small and they're both American goal scorers? If you are a Sens fan, what are your opinions on the way DeBrincat has been playing so far? Just based off of everything that I've seen on Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, etc., it appears that Sens fans are not too happy with the way a lot of these players have been performing, but is that really a setback for them personally, or is that just circumstantial? It's, hey, DeBrincat still looks good, he still looks dangerous, he just can't convert. Is that his fault, or is that just the way the game goes? Talk in the comments your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.